Welcome to Pucked Up Hockey Moms, the landing space for moms of all ages, shapes, and sizes. And we won't hate it if the non-mom joins either. We just hope your ears are as unfiltered as our mouths, and you're as passionate about hockey as we are. It's time to get offside, ladies, and no whistles are being blown here. I'm your host, Amanda.
And I'm Brittany.
And this week we have with us Cami, who's going to share her journey as a hockey mom and a mom of an official. We've been needing this perspective for a little while, so welcome, Cami.
Hello.
Thanks for joining us, Cami. Just to start us off, how about you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. So I am a mom of 3, and 2 of them are in hockey. One is, he's 15, so he's first year U18, which is awful. And sorry.
No,
but it was awful.
Gap. I get it.
Oh, yeah. It's awful. And my kids play house, so we're hoping next year's better. And then my daughter just turned 12. She is first year U13, and that's a whole nother story. We had a great year, not a great start. It all worked out. The kids are great. And then our almost 10-year-old daughter is no interest in playing hockey whatsoever, which is fine. She's kind of the wild child, and she's tried a bunch of things, but this year she's started trying and really loving hip hop. So that's her thing right now.
Love that.
Yeah.
Nice.
I mean, after having 2 kids in hockey, having another option sometimes is nice.
Oh, yeah.
To watch.
Yeah. Gets cold after.
Also probably cheaper.
Yeah.
Yes.
I know.
So let's start off with how your family got started in hockey.
So neither of us grew up playing hockey. My husband actually was born and raised in Ucluelet. So his mom was always, I'm not driving to Port Alberni in the winter. So fair enough. But when my son was younger, he really wanted to play hockey. But at the time, my husband was working in Alberta. And I was like, I am not being the hockey mom when you're away. Like, I'm not doing that. Like, that's too much for me. So we put him in a bunch of like the city programs. Like there's one where we live called, it's like NHL Novice Hockey League or something. And it's like an introduction to like hockey skills and then scrimmages and stuff like that. So he did that probably 8 times. And then he really enjoyed it and continued to enjoy it. So when my husband, I don't remember when he came back working in town, that's when we decided we're like, okay, you can join hockey now. And it was our son's first year U11. So he didn't do like the half ice initiation, any of that. He started first year U11 and he fell in love with it. And then my daughter was U9. She started halfway through U9. Like we did a little bit of the half ice with her. I don't like half ice.
No.
But
it's harder to watch. I mean, it does give them some small area, like
absolutely
stuff. It is good. It's just harder as a parent to watch it. That's all.
Yes. I do regret not putting our son in hockey sooner. Like, once he went into it, we realized how much he loved it.
Yeah.
We were like, oh, why didn't we start earlier? Because we did feel like when he was U11, there was lots of things that we were learning that a lot of parents were like, oh yeah, this. And we're like, oh, what? Like, he's got to do this. And what are these skating things? And we felt like he was a little bit behind there, but picked it up quickly.
Yeah, my son also started in U11 first. So he never did like the half ice or anything like that.
Yeah.
But my oldest played hockey for 10 years. So I was familiar with how it all worked a little bit. There's been minor changes, but nothing too drastic since he played.
Yeah.
Did your daughter want to follow your son into hockey right away, or did it take her a little bit?
It took her a little bit. She did some other sports. I think both of our girls tried soccer, and then the turning point for her was they were doing an after school, it was like a skating program again through the city. It wasn't strictly just hockey, but it was just kind of like a after school program. And there was a girl in that program that was the instructor, and she was a hockey player. And then all of a sudden our daughter started taking an interest in it then. She was a little bit interested when her brother was playing, but not a ton. And then this instructor was telling her about it, and then we had to go buy some gear, and then she was wearing the gear to this program. And then all of a sudden it was, I want to play hockey. And we were okay, I guess. So we did the same thing. We put her in the NHL program through the city and gave it a go. But then it was, okay, well, we can continue putting her in this, or we could throw her in for half a season, which is cheaper, and just see how she likes it. So we were able to do that. She did that, and the rest is she's now playing hockey.
Did you find hockey was a completely different viewpoint as a mom of a hockey girl versus a hockey boy? And I only ask that because I have one of each, and my son played first and then my daughter, and I was shocked to see the differences, just I'd say talking to other parents or whatnot, or listening to other parents' perspectives.
Not a ton. I don't know. Our daughter plays, we call it co-ed, integrated. Yeah. She plays co-ed. I don't want to get hate for this, but we are firm believers on co-ed hockey opposed to female. There is female hockey has its purpose, and there's definitely girls that are female hockey players, but my husband's a coach and he's had girls on his team and stuff like that, where he feels and I feel they definitely develop better as being with the boys. So our kids play the same. They have the same playing style. I don't find it really any different. Yeah. She has a little bit more competitiveness in her, but she's more of, out of our three kids, she's the more natural athlete. She's good at most things she tries.
Well, that's good for him. Yeah. I mean, my daughter played with integrated from the time she was in kindergarten. And then I think her second year, U13, she played 1 year with the females and then went back for her first U15 for hitting. And so she played U15 this year with contact for U15. So she was full contact, and that was interesting. Yeah. I mean, I love hockey, so it's good to watch. And part of me is like, oh my God, she's getting crushed. But at the same time, I was like, it's fine.
Yeah.
She can hold her own. She can hold her own.
That's awesome.
But yeah, I do agree that they both have their place, and there's a lot of, it can be very controversial for sure.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of girls that would not join the sport, I think, if there weren't an all-female team. Because they're
for sure
intimidated and they wouldn't want to play with the boys. And so I think that is a great thing to have a choice to go full female. But I would say that at a certain age, the boys are a lot stronger, and it definitely forced my daughter to work a lot harder to get faster and to keep up, just because there's testosterone, different hormone levels. So yeah, it is for sure a big can of worms to open that topic.
Yeah. But there's been times where I've been like, should we dual roster her? Because I see the girls on the girls team and they're got their clicks, but then she's got her little clicks with the boys, and I'm like, but then there's always the drama between if there's a conflict in games. Yeah. The female side always wants you to pick female. She would definitely pick co-ed over the female. Yeah. So we're just, no, you can stay co-ed.
Pick one and commit to it at the
exactly.
You know what I mean? It's easier that way, and then there's your allegiances to one.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I know. It is hard because they want to have fun, and I'd say my daughter had done a spring with female team and she had a lot of fun, and so then she did a season with females, but at the same time I think she led the province for penalty minutes that season for U13.
Oh.
That's because awesome. Because she had played co-ed the entire time, and so it's just a little bit different rules. And then when it came to hitting, she wanted to learn in that style. So yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
You mentioned a couple of your kids played soccer when they were younger. Did they play any other sports along with hockey, or?
The only other sport that we do, our middle child, so the 12-year-old, her sport of choice, I think even over hockey, is wakeboarding. Yeah, it's very random, but she got into it about 2 or so years ago it was actually my brother-in-law. We were up at the lake at the Sprout Lake water sports, and she got behind the boat, she got pulled, and she could do it, and then she competed.
Oh, wow.
It was a week later, she competed in a provincial and she won. And then she's just, like I said, she tries things, and if she gets it, she's just good at it. So that's where we spend our summers, and she's good. The other kids do it. They don't do it competitively. our youngest daughter, she does compete, but she's only competed once. And our son, actually, he got up behind the boat this last year. But another like plot twist with our kid is, and hockey, he broke his leg almost 2 years ago.
Jeez.
And it was like devastating. And that's like a whole nother ballpark of working through the mental aspect of hockey and playing hockey again. So all last year, he would come to the lake. He didn't come very much, so he didn't get up behind the boat last year, but this year he was able to. But that's a whole nother ballpark with confidence in hockey and hitting everything. Oh, yeah.
I know the things that we have to go through just for our children.
Oh, I know.
Watching them and you're like, I can't do this for you. I just want to, but I can't.
Yeah.
Now, I know you and I chatted a bit about it, but you said your son is a ref, and I clearly do not know enough about reffing in general. I like to think I do, just like I like to think I know a lot about a lot of things. But we really wanted more of a perspective from a mother's point of view of an official, so we thought we could get your side of the story. How old was your son when he started to ref, and why did he want to start reffing?
So he started at 12. So when he started, that was the age you could start at, was 12. And he started right away, took the course. They do it in the fall. So he did it right away. He had a bunch of friends doing it. He was interested in doing it for sure, learning a little bit of a different perspective of the game and everything. And also a few extra bucks here and there. As a 12-year-old, it was kind of sweet. So they start off and they just do half ice games when you start, and it's obviously like the U9s. There's usually two of them out there. You're just getting the puck when they score and dropping the puck, and
it's herding cats.
Exactly. But yeah, I think so. He started when he was 12, and yeah, he does it. He redoes it every year, and he enjoys it.
That's good.
Yeah.
Do you think reffing has changed how he plays the game?
Definitely at the start when he was still learning everything about hockey, and then going into reffing and being like, oh, this, and like, I don't even know. But I remember him coming back and being like, knowing more, and just talking to his dad and being like, oh, well, this happened and makes it easier for when I'm on the ice, and this. And quite often he would be in a game and he's trying to watch it, but he's like zoning out because he's paying attention to what's going on in the game so much that we're like, pay attention, like, wake up.
But it helps more with like gameplay scenarios for him now, because he's seeing.
And now if something happens in his game or his sister's game and what just happened, or why did they do that? And he'll be able to explain it to us or explain it to his dad who's on the bench.
Losing his ever-loving shit.
The reffing course.
No, it's probably not a good idea, because I'll probably get a notepad out and be like, you're doing it wrong. And nobody needs that. That's not a good idea. Does your daughter want to be a ref as well?
So she is. She started this year. So when he started, when it was 12, like 12, I think is like the minimum age.
I think so, yeah.
But they also open it to like 11-year-olds. So she just turned 12 in the start of March.
Yeah.
So she was able to do it this past fall, and she doesn't get as many games as him because they've got so many young refs to do like the U9 half ice games that they try and get them out there to get the experience and stuff. So she doesn't get a ton. I don't even think she had any for March, but she was also sick in March for February, sorry. But then the month prior, I think she had 4, which was good for her. But yeah, no, she started as well, and she loves it. She's pretty. I say she's pretty good, but she can take a lot from people, and we all know how crazy little kid parents are. Exactly.
Like Ashley said last week or 2 weeks ago, they're going home to sign contracts. You know?
100%.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes I'll be yelling at a call, and I'm definitely not yelling at the ref in general. I'll yell at the older refs because I feel that's okay.
Yeah.
But I'm not yelling at like the small children. I'm yelling because I don't understand the call, and I've had some ref moms be like, "That's my kid." I'm like, "But I'm not mad at your kid. I don't understand the call. I'm confused. Please don't be upset by me."
The thing that I don't like is especially for coaches, you can't even call a ref over and be like, hey, can you come here just for like 1 second to like ask a question? It's like, as soon as they say, hey, ref, the ref automatically is, you're yelling at me. It's not. And I think for a lot of parents in the stands to be like, what? That's just a reaction.
It is. Yeah.
So I don't know.
But I do think that has a lot to do with the current mentality of when we were kids, bullying was a very, very different thing versus like I've seen in the workplace, constructive criticism now to the younger generation is considered bullying. I'm like, but that's constructive criticism, and it's just saying you can't put that in an email.
Yeah, totally.
You know, so I kind of, generationally speaking, like bullying is definitely serious. Do not get me wrong. I am not saying that bullying does not exist. That's not what I'm trying to say. So people listening, please don't kill me. But like, it's just like, I remember being relentlessly bullied as a child because I was like 6 feet tall with glasses and braces, and it was awful. Like, it happened, and it was like, I was afraid to go to school. I didn't want to go to school. I was crying all the time. But like, now you have something that's so small and it's like, you're bullying me, or my kids will say something.
When you're just trying to teach them something.
Yeah, like,
absolutely.
don't be such a bully. I'm like, okay, guys, that's not bullying. Let's change the So like, when a coach asking a kid something, again, that interpretation of bullying, like the pendulum has completely turned on something. So, and it's good that they recognize to have a voice and to stand up for themselves, but should be able to use things as a teaching moment and should still be able to ask questions. So
I think too, it's unfortunate that it's some parents that have helped swing that pendulum the other way, because they have gone crazy on yelling at officials.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, one father who like actually went at a kid in the hallway after a game,
or like push kids, like 12-year-old refs on the ice, and you're like, what are you doing? So there is definitely extremes on both sides, but it's almost unfortunate that they don't have enough older refs that can guide people and give more feedback.
Constructive criticism.
Exactly.
A seminar on constructive criticism in the school. We digress.
On the topic of yelling or not yelling at officials, if you can tell us, without naming any names or locations, what's been the biggest scene or situation that you've come across, that you or your husband have come across, when your son's been on the ice as the ref?
Okay, so right off the top of my head, I can think of two. One when he started, and then one more recently. So one when he started, it was like his second game. So he was doing like a U11 competitive tournament, or I think it was a tournament, and it was just like being super new and everything. There was probably he wasn't the ref, so he was lining, and I think it mostly like missed maybe offsides or missed icings or something like that. And he definitely got yelled at pretty harsh, to the point that like I made a big Facebook post thinking some people might see it, as well as the referee in chief was actually at the game as well. So he had spoken to the coach right after and kind of gave him a bit of shit. And then the most recent one was just actually last spring. Everybody loves spring hockey.
Oh, yeah.
And so it was a 2-man system, and he was doing a tournament with one of his buddies, and same thing, like the coach was just yelling at him, make a fucking call, this, that, blah, blah. So as soon as you do that, it's not that they're going to turn on you, but you're not going to help the situation. And so the other ref that my son was with, he was just like, okay, but chill. And at the end, like, didn't stop or anything. So then at the end of the game, the two of them stood at the nets, putting them away, and refused to shake the coach's hands, which I was like, I don't care. You shook the players' hands. Like, I don't care if you don't want to shake the coach's hands. Like, I wouldn't have either.
The coach was not ejected from the game.
Yeah, exactly. So then they're now starting to come back to get off the ice, and they're coming to the door, and the coach slammed the door in their face.
Wow.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so when I heard that, I was fuming.
Yeah.
And I emailed the lady running the tournament and I was like, this is unacceptable because that was like, I think the game ended at like 9:00 and the next game that morning, those two were also doing. And it was the same coach and the same team that they were playing. Like it was just how it fell.
Yeah.
They're now playing in the semi and it's the same two teams. So I had emailed the lady and she emailed the coach and sent it to me and just said, your own team has complained about this as well as the officials. If this doesn't change, you're going to be removed. And he was fine the next day.
Yeah.
That's good.
But yeah, there's definitely things you see in some games I don't like to attend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
That's fair. It can get heated. And then sometimes you're like, children.
Yeah.
It's not the end.
Sometimes I feel like I'm watching the World Cup, guys, okay?
One day.
Sometimes it's more exciting than watching an NHL game because
Yeah.
you've watched all these kids play since they were 5 years old. I have a vested interest in these children. I'm cheering for every single one of them passionately.
Yeah.
The World Series. You mentioned your husband is a coach. Do you think having your son as a ref and seeing different situations, has this affected how he coaches or interacts with refs during a game, do you think? Or no?
Not really. Like he's not a mean coach. He's a loud coach. So and he's definitely had words with adult refs. There's been times where a call will be made, like a blatant call that even I'm like, or not a call, but like a play will be made and even I'm like, why wasn't that called? And like, I don't know all of them, but I'll see it and and then he'll just kind of be like, hey, but then people will think he's yelling at the ref and he's like, I'm not yelling at the ref. I'm just loud. I'm saying, hey. And he's actually asked refs to come over to talk to him. And if they feel like they're not going to get yelled at, which he's not, because most of them we know. Half of the time can you just, before the game gets out of control, can you make a call? Make a call on my team. I don't care, but you need to take control of the game. And then usually they will or whatnot if they actually come over and talk to him. But he doesn't yell at kids. He's just loud. And sometimes being loud gets you in trouble, which is unfortunate because he's not mean to refs. But like I said, he's had words with adults. And by adults, I mean like 50, 60-year-old men.
Yeah, so. I do. Yeah, the old-timer refs in the nicest possible way. But yeah, no, I get it. Like, I mean, I'm loud. My husband is loud.
Yeah.
Like, he's been a coach too. And same thing. Like, you're just trying to get their attention to talk to them, but it doesn't mean you're going to be mean about it. And I've seen many situations where a lack of calls have changed the whole course of the game. And you just need somebody to make a call. On either side and even it up after, just to slow down the pace of the game, because it can start to get carried away, especially once they're into hitting, and because there's no hitting in house, correct? Like,
there's not supposed to be, but U18
there's contact. But there's not supposed to be intentional hitting and stuff. And U18, it's a different ball game. They just do what they want to do a lot of times anyway. So sometimes when you're missing those, or they give a little bit of liberties here and there, and there's too many liberties, or it's too heavy-handed on one side versus the other, then things just get out of control, and you really do need to just start throwing down some 4 minutes, or even some 10 minutes, or throwing it out of a game just to bring that temperature down a little bit. So I can appreciate him saying, hey, just slow it down. My team, their team, I don't care. Just control it.
The kids just need to know and see that somebody is seeing what's happening, and that it's
we're not just ignoring you guys and letting you go rabid.
Or somebody gets
I would say probably 85-90% of our U18 games this year got to that point. We had line brawls. We had multiple fights. And again, like you said, we're not a contact league.
No.
And it was awful. Like, I am so happy the year's over. And so like, my husband was so disrespected this year, unfortunately. And he usually puts like his heart and soul in coaching. And he's like, I can't. He's like, I can't do it. And he tried for the kids that wanted to be there. And we're just hoping next year it'll be better and it'll just be cleaner. I don't know. Like it was bad.
U18 in non-competitive can get a little less commitment and a little less.
Oh yeah.
Like kids start not showing up as much because they want to go to parties and they're driving, and so the commitment level is a lot different.
Yeah.
And you'll definitely start to see them tapering out and wanting to do different things. So I have heard that previously, and that can affect the game too, because you're like, when your bench is short, then the other bench you're playing is full, then you're playing against that and you're tired, and then there's injuries and there's fighting, and all the kids see are fights on TikTok because they don't always watch an entire game now, they only watch highlight reels.
Exactly.
They want to do what the pros do.
Yep.
Yeah. So they just want to emulate that, right? So yeah.
Is there anything you wish you could say to other parents that are losing their shit on officials during a younger kid's game, if you could?
I have. I've told parents that if they feel that they can do it better, then they offer the course every fall. Sign up. Like,
love it.
Sign up, take it. You can come out there, you can do it if you can do a better job. But like, these games don't happen without them. So especially like when it's during tournaments, it's like, you know that your tournament wouldn't be going on if you didn't have these refs sign up, because there is so many refs I know where we are that are like my son's age. So I would say between 14 and 16, 13 and 16 maybe, that you put anything with competitive in front of a reffing or a lining, mostly a reffing, lots of kids refuse because they're like, nope, not doing it. So it sucks in that aspect, but the games don't happen if you don't have them. So
absolutely,
if you think you can do better, sign up and you do it.
Yeah. That's fun.
I do. I like it. Hats off to that one. Yep. So on a funnier note, what is your funniest story or memory of either your son or daughter playing or reffing?
It's hard to think of for my son because it's been so long, but it's not really a funny memory, but like just like a good memory for my daughter is like, last year her team was playing in a tournament and it was tied. We were playing for gold. And it was tied, and it's like they had a very good team last year. Like, they went undefeated in league and banner.
Nice.
And so we were actually down at one point, and then we brought it up to tie it, and I think there was like 30 seconds left, and then they were battling, and with like 0.03 seconds, my daughter received a pass and scored. And it was like
Stanley Cup. Right there.
It seriously was. Like, everyone was like, that was better than the World Juniors. Like, that was so amazing.
You get so invested. Like,
it was so good.
The adrenaline.
Also, that time frame at any age. At any age would be just amazing.
And we were all just sitting there dreading, like, oh, we don't want to go to overtime. No. Like, this is going to suck. It was also at like 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah. And you feel robbed in overtime.
Yeah. Definitely sucked. But she saved the day. And then for like my son, it's kind of similar. Playoff game last year, same sort of thing. He scored the game-winning goal, but then followed by getting punched and taken down by one of his friends on the other team because they were playing another local team. But then at the end of the game, back to being like friends and all that. It's just like in the heat of the game. There's nothing really like funny. Those are just like really good memories. I don't know.
No, good. I mean, we'll take them.
Yeah.
What kind of hockey mom cheerer are you, and how would others describe you as a hockey mom?
Loud.
Perfect.
I'm definitely one of the loud ones. Like, their parents are like, "Where's Cammie? Like, we missed you out there, Cammie." Goalies are definitely ones I cheer for. Our son's team, we had the same goalie for a good, I think it was like 3 years, and I was like his biggest fan. Just definitely love the goalies. And even this year for both of them, like, I always just have to make sure that they have their head in it still. So yeah, definitely loud.
That's awesome. Yeah. You know, if it weren't for us loud parents, then the quieter parents wouldn't feel safe to cheer louder.
Exactly.
We're giving people permission. We're giving them permission to let their inner freaks fly.
Yes. I like that.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
They're for their benefit.
Right?
Yeah.
No, you are a quiet person, but you are a little louder.
Quiet in life and loud.
And I do appreciate that about you. Yeah. What are you most proud of when you watch your kids ref?
Just like when they stand their ground and like they make a call, and our daughter's not quite there yet. Like she has her first game, she had to deal with a coach that kind of was like, oh, she was going to make I think a tripping call or something.
Yeah.
And it was on his kid. And she looked at the coach and he was like, no, no, no. So she kind of got like a little bit like scared. But then at the end, she was, no, next time, I'm not going to let that happen. But for our son, definitely when he actually like makes a call and sticks to a call, like there was a game a couple weeks ago where he called a goal and it was on like a local team against like another team from down island.
Yeah.
And it was in a tournament and he called a goal, and it was so quick that everyone was just kind of like, was that a goal? Was that not a goal? Like, did it go bar down? Like nobody really saw, like would have needed video replay.
Yeah.
But he called it. And then the coach called him over from the other team and started like getting mad at him. And he was like, if you don't stop yelling at me, you're going to be gone. Like, this is your warning. And I was, oh, good for you for sticking to your ground. Because honestly, I don't know if he knew for sure if it was.
He called it, or he called
Exactly.
it, he stuck to it, just like
Yeah.
you're not, I mean,
Yeah. And
good.
there's been a couple times like I wouldn't say he struggles with that, but that is where if he could choose between reffing or lining, he much prefers lining because there's no responsibility. Like there's such a fine line with when you're reffing, coaches want you to make all the calls, but at the same time, they don't want you to make too many calls.
Yeah.
So and if a coach is getting out of hand, yeah, they can go over and be like, I'm giving you a warning, stop yelling and swearing at me. But for a 15-year-old to kick out a 40-year-old man or 45-year-old man, like that's intimidating.
It is.
He never has. I know his friends have, but he never has. He's just given warnings.
Yeah.
So when I see him standing his ground, it's like, whew, okay, see, you can do hard things.
Yeah. Yep. Great life lessons. Like the team sport is great, but learning to make the tough calls, that's an asset.
And being able to back your decision and stand up for why you made the call, and that's and not anybody else is out there.
Yeah.
It's nobody else's job is.
And you're standing there with a bunch of adults screaming at you. Like, I don't know if I'd be able to do that at that age. So I think that's pretty commendable. Like,
yeah. And a huge thing for him is, I don't know if I had touched on this already, but he just a couple weeks ago was asked, or I guess like maybe a month or so ago, he was asked to take part in the U15 Tier 2 provincials that were hosted up here.
Yep.
And he accepted it. And he was only put down as a linesman, which was fine. He was the youngest one there.
Yeah.
And definitely all out of his comfort zone. Like he went to the banquet with all the teams, all the coaches, all the refs.
That's so cool.
He had to be at the rink on the Saturday all day to like hang out with everyone and just watch all the games. He did great. I think they all it was like a mini tryout for refs. Like he had one game the Saturday, he had one game Sunday, and then depended on how you did those 2 days, depended on like your next 2 days. So it was like a tryout. He did really well. Totally out of his comfort zone, but he never once was, I'm not doing this. I don't want to do this. Whereas he has done that before. Like if he gets a head reffing job or something like that he's uncomfortable with, he'll be fine. And then the day will come and I'm going to ask so-and-so if they want to switch with me. And I'm like, whatever. But he doesn't always, but sometimes. But the provincials were definitely a great experience for him, and he enjoyed it. He loved it, and then he came back and he did a game of U11 house, and he was like, "Wow, this is a difference." He's like, "I can't do those anymore."
I don't even like to do the clock or scoreboard past U11, so I can only imagine the reffing intensity of like U15. Like,
yeah, it was crazy. And he had some really good teams. Like the teams he was part of were really talented. There wasn't any major issues or anything like that. Yeah. So he definitely got the good games. So and we got to hang out at the rink and watch some good hockey.
That's awesome. Yeah. I say it all the time. I'll just go watch random people's hockey.
Oh, we do all the time.
Yeah, I know. People are looking at me like, your kid isn't even on this team. Like people that don't like me, Yeah, I know there are those people.
Oh, yeah.
But there's like those parents that are like, oh, great, it's her, and I wave. I saw
Yeah.
a reel today of the person like waving to that parent that hates you, and I'm like, hey, that's me.
Yeah, we're
So
often
I
at
wave,
the
and I'm
rink.
like, yes, I'm here, and no, I don't have a kid on this team, but yes, I'm watching this game.
Yeah. That was us this past weekend. We were watching a tournament that was going on, and a couple people walk in and they're like, why are you guys here?
Yeah.
We're like, we're watching hockey. Like,
live at the
why
rink.
does it matter? We know people.
You and your judgy face can just stop. You're obviously not a passionate hockey person if you're asking
Yeah.
another parent why they're here.
Exactly.
It should be obvious.
And we attend every single, well, at least me or my husband, if not both, we attend like all of our kids reffing as well because we want to be there if something happens.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I mean,
So.
like, it's nice for your kid to have the support. And I
Yeah.
mean, it's not ideal that you sit around for 3 hours waiting for your kid. But like knowing that there's that support there, and I don't mean in a Karen helicopter way because I don't ever want to be that parent. But in this type of setting, as a ref, there is a lot of intimidation factor that can occur. And I would, if my kids were refs, I would want to be there for it.
Yeah.
Because
Totally.
it can go wrong pretty fast, and it's just better to be there. So yeah, I would do that for sure.
What advice would you give to another hockey mom whose kid wants to become a ref?
I don't know. I've had friends ask and say like, oh, so and so wants to do this, and I always tell them like, do it. It's a great experience, but definitely be present.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Make sure you're around and make sure they are firm. Like, gotta have a backbone.
Yeah,
for
thick
sure.
skin for sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And most young kids have not developed
No.
yet. Some have. I know.
Yeah.
Like my daughter would be like, nope, this is what I said and this is what's happening.
Yeah, the sassiness level on that one.
She would just give the sass back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Miss Thang. Hope she's listening to this one. I will tell her all about
all of them.
Yeah, she is very loyal. I like it. If you could talk to any athlete from any sport, who would it be? Or would you rather talk to their mom? And what would you want to know?
I didn't know if you were going to ask me this question. I remember you asking Ashley.
I ask it every time. It's my thing. Yeah.
I don't know.
I've decided it's my thing.
I don't know, because like I honestly don't know. I was like, if she's gonna ask me this question, who am I gonna say? What am I gonna do?
Did you ask your husband for advice?
I did actually, and he was like, I don't know. I really don't know, because like I love watching my kids play hockey and I love watching them do sports, but I don't really like pay attention to like other ones really.
Enough to care.
Yeah,
No.
like we watch hockey, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Would I like sit down and talk to another hockey? I don't know. Maybe I'd be like, hey, come talk to my kid who's like obsessed with you or something like that. But
well, that's a good question. Would you talk to my kid? They're obsessed with you.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah. Like, Connor Bedard, come talk to my daughter. She's like in love with you. That's probably what I would do.
Perfect.
Such a good mom.
Your daughter would love that.
Yeah.
Such a good mom. Thank you for joining us today, Cami. I appreciate your perspective on having an official as children, both children. And hopefully you enjoyed us as well, because we're a lot.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for tuning in today, and we appreciate you listening. Catch us next week for another mix of hockey tales, tricks, and/or tips.